Hi, this is Mrs. Zhu, and today we're going to be working on our homework, talking about circles. And in class, we weren't taking any notes, but instead we were working on an activity regarding pi, our favorite number. Remember that it is Pi Week, and in celebration of Pi Week, we are going to be dressing up on Thursday for a culminating competition, and the winner will receive pi. And so here we go. Let's talk about circles. Circles and pi are related. I'm going to put a center at dot in my circle. If I were to measure from one end to the other end crossing the center, we call that the diameter. D for diameter. You might have heard of the word radius. R for radius. A radius is just half that distance. So from the center to the edge, that's the radius. Even from this center to the other edge is the radius. Now 2 radiuses, 2 times radius, will equal to actually a diameter, and that's what you see here in the picture. Also, a key word is circumference. I'm going to write that around the circle because the circumference is the distance around a circle. It's like the perimeter, but specifically for circles, we call it circumference. That's the key word there. Circumference. We say it is the length or the perimeter around the circle. Okay, so today for your homework, we're going to start with number 2. Each of the questions tonight, 12 of them, you are going to be calculating the circumference. Please no calculators when you do your homework tonight. I will be looking for that. So I will be looking that you are multiplying your decimals, especially I should be able to see 3.14 multiplied 12 times because you will be using pi. So circumference comes as 2 different formulas, and you're going to write that formula for every single question, what is appropriate for that question. Now for number 2, they tell us that the radius is 3.5 centimeters, and so I'm going to use the circumference formula. There's 2 of them. The first circumference formula is 2 times pi times the radius. The second one is circumference is equal to pi times the diameter. What you'll see is these 2 are equivalent to one another because since diameter is twice of what the radius is, that's exactly what is happening right here with the formula. So going back to number 2, I'm going to write the formula for every question. So my formula here is 2 times pi times the radius. So all I need is for them to tell me what the radius, and I'm going to plug that into my formula and then chug out my answer. My circumference is going to be 2 times 3.14, that's the estimation for pi, March 14th, times the radius, which is 3.5 centimeters. So I'm going to multiply all these 3 numbers together. Now the easiest thing for me to do is actually, I'm going to double the radius first. I'm going to double 3.5. And if I am able to do that in my head, then I know that that's already 7. And if I want to multiply it on the side, I can. And the reason I'm choosing to multiply that first is because then I'm going to multiply 3.14. That number is larger, and so I want to save that for the end. It's going to make it a little easier. Then I'm going to multiply 3.14 times 7, and yeah, I am not using a calculator. So thank you for not using a calculator. It's exactly what I want you to do is practice multiplying your decimals. You will not be able to have that calculator when you take a quiz. 21.98 centimeters is that circumference of a circle when the radius is 3.5 centimeters. Very good. Number 3, they tell us that the diameter is 100 inches. Awesome, 100. I love working with hundreds. It's going to make my multiplying a lot easier, especially as I'm using decimals. My circumference for the formula is going to be pi times diameter. That's my other formula. My other one was 2 times pi times r, and I'm not going to use that one because what they give me is diameter. So I'm going to simply multiply 3.14 times 100. Anytime that I'm multiplying by powers of 10, because the number 100 has 2 zeros, I'm able to move my decimal 2 to the right And the reason I move it to the right is because that number will get larger. So I can show it to you over here. What's going to happen is when I multiply, I will get 314, 0, 0, and then I will have to move my decimal twice, which will end up right there in back of the 4, which is exactly what happens when I move the decimal 1, 2 behind the 4, and there's my answer. Now I want to label that. It is in inches, and that's important. Okay, I think I went a little quickly there. This is number 3. Number 4, this is the last question I'm going to do for us. I have 4 2/3 of a meter. 4 2/3 of a meter is actually about 4.6, and we have a 6 repeating, so I'm just going to take it to the hundredths place, 4.67. If you chose to do 4.7, that's all right too. Your answer may just not be as accurate as mine might be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the circumference formula, which is 2 times pi times r, and then I'm going to plug in my radius and begin to multiply. My circumference is 2 times 3.14 times the radius, which is 4 2/3. I'm thinking I can do this. I can maybe double the 4 2/3. If I want to double a fraction, I want to keep it as accurate as possible. So I'm going to change this fraction, 2 times 4 2/3, into a mixed fraction. So I'm going to get 14 over 3. Then I'm going to multiply fractions like I normally would, which is going to give me 28 over 3, which is the same as 9 1/3. Okay. Then I'm going to take 9.3 repeating. I'm going to 3, and I'm going to multiply that with 3.14. Hope I didn't lose some of us already. So I'm going to take 9.33 and multiply it by 3.14. The number is going to be a lot to multiply. But you guys are really good at multiplying, right? Okay, and let me just, I can double check it with my calculator if I wish to. Okay, my decimal goes right there because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 decimals. Perfect, that's exactly the answer I should get. My circumference is 29 I'm going to round that to 0.3 inches, no, meters. So there's my answer right there. Okay, about. And I'm going to, because it's about, I'm going to put a little squiggly. It's not really accurate. So that's really important actually too. So if I go back to question number 3, I'm also going to use the little squigglies. The reason why is because since I'm approximating pi, and I'm just saying pi is 3.14, my answers will all just only be approximations. Alright, have a good rest of the day, and try your very best with all of the decimals as you multiply, and work hard. There are 12 questions, but I want you to work really hard on multiplying those decimals. Bye.